I've had so far had sorry, but the meetings I've had so far have been incredibly fruitful and productive. I also look forward to meeting the newly co-opted members, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ollie Watkins, Cynthia Mathoni, and Jasmine Cannon, Ikosi, Alexis Morris, and Rebecca Davies on their appointments and the contributions they are sure to make in their new role. And I'm sure I have passed the 2 minute mark. So,
You had
uh,
5 seconds left, but
oh well, I'll smile and pout instead. That was me reading Luann's report. If you'd like to read the rest of it, it's on the document on Green Spaces. Um, she obviously put a lot of effort into that, and I'm sorry if I butchered anyone's name reading that out. But then on to Ollie Watkins.
we should ask questions for the co-chairs first.
Oh, go for it. Uh, any questions for the co-chairs?
I did see there was a question in the chat about how can one join the WhatsApp group. I'm not sure which one that specifies. I don't know if you have any insights like how.
Yeah, I think that was referring to the WhatsApp group that Lou referred to in her report. That was a WhatsApp group we created just for Young Greens at conference. If you'd like to get involved in another way, we have the Young Greens Slack network. If you've recently joined, that will be in your join journey email. But whilst the session's ongoing, I'll try and send the link into the um, chat for this session. But yeah, I don't think we have a WhatsApp group chat for the rest of the Young Greens at the moment because I think that would be quite difficult to manage. But the Slack network is probably the best place for that right now.
We did
Wonderful,
also
thank you.
we did also have a pre-submitted question, by the way. It's not specifically directed at any role. So I'll probably just ask it to you, Carmen, and then probably membership and inclusion if they end up being a is there scope for meeting new members within the first week of them joining to explain to them how to get involved? Navigating the different pages and spaces can feel intimidating at first and can get in the way of harnessing the help of new members.
Um, so we don't necessarily have the space to meet new members, but we have historically done welcome calling and welcome events at times where we've had really high uptake in membership. We did one around the general election. So potentially that's something that we could look into doing again. But it might not be the the first week, as that would be very quick for us to respond. But ideally, probably like the first month of people joining, it would be great to get to discuss with them. But yeah, that is very much up to the membership and inclusion officer, and depends on what the capacity of the exec is looking like as well.
We will move on to Ollie's
Wonderful.
then. Um, Ollie has sent their apologies um, because they are suffering from dust flare up. I'll time myself. I trust myself not to break rules.
I've got you as well, George. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. I'd like to start my report by thanking Aaron, Lou, and especially Callum for their help in inducting me onto the new exec and their support in what has been a very busy few weeks since being co-opted. I'd also like to thank the rest of the exec for being so welcoming. I was co-opted onto the exec as treasurer on 29th of October and was straight away busy with preparing the draft budget for 2025, which had to be sent to the GP account, Green Party accounts team by the 4th of November. Callum had already done a lot of the legwork on this, so I'm very grateful for their help as we prepared this budget together. The budget is both ambitious yet realistic, and I am confident that the Young Greens will be on a steady financial footing to carry out our work in the year ahead. I'm happy to say that this draft budget has now been approved as an interim budget by the executive and is ready to be finalised in 2025 once we have final confirmation of income. I have attended 2 exec meetings since being co-opted and have actively to contributed to both raising points for discussion and feeding back on the excellent work that other members of the exec are doing. I also joined the 30 under 30 working group and was able to join the last meeting of the group discussing the overall program for the weekend. Of the weekend. I've been contributing my thoughts, particularly with regard to spend on Slack, and I'm really excited with the direction that this amazing program is heading this year. At the last exec meeting, I raised a motion on developing and supporting the representation of sex workers within the Young Greens, which commits the exec to finding a solution in this regard within the next exec term. I've offered to take the lead on this and will be consulting with our cross-liberation group and relevant organisations to see how we can go about this. In the next few months, I'll be dealing with the costs incurred by Windsor General Meeting on 30 and the 30 and ensuring that we are taking the best use of our resources in these events. I'm also looking at increasing the fundraising that we do as an organisation so that we are able to make an even greater impact. And if you want to read the rest of the report, you can find it with the rest of them on Spaces. If there's
Well
any
done.
questions for Ollie, you can send them in the chat and we can pass them on. Alternatively, you can find everyone's emails on the website under the people section at younggreens.org.uk.
I think it's on to the elections officer now. Is Isaac here?
Isaac has sent his apologies.
That is all good. This is going to turn out to be one of the world's worst podcasts, I think, with our narration techniques, George. But if everyone's okay with bearing with, I'll give 2 minutes to read out Isaac's report that he sent in. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude for all the incredible young Greens who voted for me and who I've had the privilege to work with these past few months. I am proud and excited to be part of such a clever and dedicated team and look forward to reaching greater heights with you all the year ahead. The last few months have been one of significant change and disruption in my life, and I apologize for how this impacted my functioning in the role. However, I nonetheless am happy with the progress I've made and the work I've done at developing a number of strategies and proposals that can help propel us into new heights in next year's local elections and building a strong foundation for future years. Much of my work so far has been working on streamlining existing elections and training material into concise and more easily digestible formats. I've created short scripts based off many Young Green training videos that I hope to be able to film and turn into releasable content as soon as possible. The earliest date being by the end of this month, the aim of both helping our candidates and canvassers and spreading our message further. I've been working alongside our political education officer, Eugene McCarthy, to develop training ideas such as scripts, videos, and presentations, focusing on more mundane soft skills such as public speaking, leading canvassing, discussing, and building connections between party members, and also to coordinate outreach efforts to under 18s. In addition, I've been conducting outreach with currently in-office Young Green councillors, and from this compiling a database of their explanations of the value and unique attributions of Young Green councillors and candidates. I am working on transforming this into a draft email and statements to provide to prospective candidates to increase the local party uptake of Young Greens for elections and equip us for better conversations with the National Green Party, for example, advocating for increased resources. And the rest will be available online in the Green Spaces, uploaded by me and George. Any questions for Isaac, our elections officer, you can either get in contact with them or leave in the chat here.
We will move on then. Next is Finn, who's here. So you can start when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to have been re-elected as Digital Comms Officer by the Young Greens membership in August, and I would like to begin by thanking everybody who voted for me in the election. Since being elected, I've attended most of the regular meetings of the EC, where I've provided an update on our upcoming comms priorities and contributed discussions around the items on each meeting's agenda. I've also attended meetings of the Cross-Liberation Working Group to listen to the views of all our liberation and special interest groups about how the Young Greens can support them in our digital comms. So the first big event for the Young Greens that involved comms work was Green Party Conference. So I was promoting on social media our meeting, our stall, and our speeches by our fantastic co-chairs, Callum and Luann. At conference, I also filmed a series of videos organised by a membership and inclusion officer with senior people in the party, including Zoe Garbett, Phil Davies, and Ellie Chowns. And they will be going up on social media in the next few months. Then we had to respond to the budget of the new Labour government. So I think our response was really successful. And we had posted about £15 minimum wage, the change to the bus fare cap, and rent controls. I think these were really well received and were shared by the main Green Party accounts as well. I've attended meetings between the Young Greens and Make Votes Matter about coordinating campaigns. I've worked on things like Disability History Month. We had an event on Friday, which was really useful, which I hosted, which I think was really good and was recorded, so people can watch that if they want to. And yeah, I'd like to thank the entire Young Greens EC, DAC, Liberation Group, and our staff member, who have been all amazing people to work with and have been immensely helpful with our comms. I look forward to working again with these people again and having a very successful term and year on the Young Greens Executive Committee. Thank you very much.
Perfect timing. If there's any questions for Finn, then we'll take them now. If not, we will move on.
Wonderful. I think is it Eleanor next year, and they are not here. So I shall read out their report they sent in from the press officer. To start, I would like to say thank you to everyone who re-elected me as press officer. I have thoroughly enjoyed the role and look forward to the rest of the year ahead. In the months since being elected, my priorities have been expanding the Young Greens press work across multiple campaigns and groups. This includes working with contacts at Make Votes Matter to set up working groups and reaching out to members of the exec to form said group, along with setting up our first meeting last month. I will continue to build on our work and mediate between the Young Greens and MVM to build out shared press output. I have also been involved in the campaign working group set up by Amelia and attended our first meeting. I plan to work with this group as we develop our mental health and Votes at 16's campaigns over the next months. I have continued to publish press releases and interviews on our websites, including an interview with general election candidate Lance Simmons, the Young Greens budget commentary, and Trans Day of Remembrance. I am currently working on a statement on the outgoing legal challenge to Rosebank, and I hope to reach out to the Scottish Young Greens for comment, but unfortunately I have not been able to. I have also been responding to media requests, such as a podcast request from Amplify Us. I was able to pass this into the exec and delegate an appropriate person to take part. I'd like to say a particular thank you to Chiara for volunteering to participate, and I look forward to receiving the final podcast from Amplify Us and getting this out via comms. I have continued to attend regular executive meetings, taken notes at the first MVM meeting, and helped conducted and mark an interview for our Women of Colour Officer co-option. I have enjoyed meeting so many people in the exec and DAC, and I am, as always, very grateful to all the support and hard work they put in for so far. And that is, in my opinion, perfect timing. That was their report. If you have any questions for Eleanor, our press officer, feel free to get in contact with them or put it in the group chat.
And
then
next is Amelia. You have 2 minutes when you're ready.
Hi everyone. I'd like to start this report by thanking everyone who voted for me as a campaigns officer. It has been great to start working with the new exec committee, and to start the role I had an induction from Luann, and then I went through my handover for the Green Student Committee co-conveners. I also completed the relevant training before starting on work. So my first step in the role was to develop a campaign strategy working group and outline what our priorities are as a committee this year. And we've had just one meeting for now, and we have decided to move forward with a mental health and Voters at 16 campaign. Admittedly, it's taken us longer to launch these due to conflicting schedules, but hopefully from the new year we will be able to hit the ground running with these campaigns before local elections work takes precedence. And in the first few months of the role as well, I've supported with co-opting the Women's Officer and signing off the new committee members. And I've also given feedback on the winter general meeting, and this is now like starting to be planned. So the other thing as well is getting involved with the candidates kind of experience for the general election. So I've been invited to get involved in a workshop with the Central Party and provide feedback on that. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And I've also been attending regular exec meetings and voting on proposals regarding the candidate finder, the budget, and the comps process. But the main priority over the next few months will be the mental health campaign and Votes at 16 and responding proactively. So if anyone wants to get involved, just send me an email.
Sorry, I'm not yawning at reports, by the way. I had work last night and I finished at 6 a.m. this morning. If there's any questions for Amelia, you can ask them now. We have no pre-submit questions. The only one we have is the one I asked before. But I'm assuming there isn't any. So,
Shall I go on to Tilly?
yeah.
Wonderful. Tilly is our events officer, and she has sent in this report. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who voted for me for this role in the summer. I am so grateful to have this opportunity to become part of the exec for the Young Greens. Thank you to all my fellow EC members and the AC members for your hard work over the last 3 months, as well as our co-chair Luann and previous events officer Maria for induction calls that helped me better understand the role. Since I was elected this summer, I've enjoyed our regular EC meetings and 30 under 30 working group meetings and getting involved in planning our crucial events. Together with working groups and our amazing staff member Aaron, we have made good progress in organising venues, accommodation and catering for 30 under 30 and winter general meeting, including scheduling dates that work for EC members, researching locations and venues, and contacting organisations to get quotes for more information. Fortunately, this year we have more budget to be able to host WGM in a person and a hybrid, which would be a great way to get to meet everyone and for everyone to get to meet each other. And we are currently in the process of booking Age UK leads for the Winter General Meeting and the Youth Hostel Association Lee Valley for 30 under 30. And then we can focus more on the details and activities. In the 30 under 30 working group, we are also discussing and planning ways to make the programme as engaging as possible to get Young Greens more involved in the party, including social events, a parliament visit, and a mentoring scheme. I'm really looking forward to finalising these events, attending them, and meeting more Young Greens. And thank you again for everyone's support in making that happen. And so that was the report from our events officer, Tilly Baines. If you have any questions, feel free to message them or put it in the group chat. But then other than that, it's on to Rosa, the international officer. George?
Yep. I will read out Rosa's report. I'm just going to set myself a timer. This has been my first term as Young Greens of England and Wales international officer, and so far, so good. I would like to begin by thanking previous international officer Benjamin Ward-Bermanus for his notes and excellent handover. The EC has been fantastic, making me feel welcomed and supported through this 3-month period. I'm also extremely grateful for Aaron and his endless patience with me for getting passwords to get into the international email and help with contacting others in the party. About the responsibilities of the full-time job and the volunteering opportunities, plus I was very sick in the month of November, and so my Green Party commitments were unfortunately put to the side just as our international committee was finally co-opted. Federation of Young European Greens General Assembly. Just after I was elected to the international committee, I went to the Federation of Young European Greens General Assembly at the second delegate from the Young Greens. Whilst there, I made some truly outstanding connections with whom the International Committee and myself will be working with over the coming years, such as Anya and Andre, who are members of the Cooperation and Development Network for Eastern Europe. I was also in compromise groups pertaining to the resolution on Palestine and Israel. I was being put forward trying to move the position of some centrists further to the left, maybe the German Greens. While there, we also voted and elected a new executive committee for FIEG. While at the General Assembly of FIEG, I met and made connections with some people on the Racial Justice Task Force, of which I am now a part of, who are working to decolonise FIEG as an organisation to create a safe and open space for people of minority backgrounds. This has allowed me to work closer with RJTF on advice to, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name, who ran a workshop at COP29 this year about racial justice. I was also asked by the RJTF to go on a workshop in Romania run by European Network Against Racism. And if you want to read that report, which it's a very comprehensive report, also covers the work of the International Committee, I would suggest you go on Green Spaces and read it. Yeah, and if you have any questions, as with the rest of the members of EC and DAC, you can email them or you can put it in the chat and we'll pass it on. Yeah.
And then I think our next officer, membership inclusion, I think Kiara's here. Are you here? Do you want to go for it?
So, yeah,
I'll keep timer of you.
cool. Hi everyone, I am Kiara and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from Brighton and Hove Green Party. I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone, especially those in the committee who I reached out to before nominating myself, because without all of those lovely conversations, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do so. So thank you guys. Excuse me. So first, the handover was excellent because it was done by Ollie, who is our current treasurer, for those who don't know. The first real thing where I started to meet people I attended was conference, which was absolutely fantastic. For me, it was just meeting everyone for the first time and kind of understanding what we do and like the space that we operate within. Here we started, what did we do? We did interviews with Ellie and Zoe, which was very exciting. And I was also able to be on a panel about candidate diversity, which was a first for me. And it was also a really enriching, insightful experience. So while I've been at university, I'm starting the LSE Young Greens. It's taken a little while to kick off. There's a bit of bureaucracy in the university, but it's finally started and hopefully we'll be able to post on Instagram and stuff, so keep an eye out for that. Also, the aim of that is to get involved with the London Young Greens, who are also freshly starting up. Co-option interviews were very insightful. I liked hearing about what everyone had to say, and we have some really great committee members. And the next, oh God, I've got 15 seconds. Okay. The Amplify Us podcast was really fantastic. So thank you to Eleanor for setting that up. Hopefully that will be released soon, so you'll be able to hear all of the waffle I gave. That's my time done. Please send me questions.
Beautiful. Lovely. Does anyone have any questions for Kiara? If they figure out they do have questions, I'm sure they can get in contact with her or whack it in the chat and either she'll reply or we'll send the message to her. But thank you for that, lovely. And I think it goes on to Eugene McCarthy. George, did you want to take over for that one?
Yeah, I'll take over for this one. One sec. Let me set a timer. Hey folks, this is a brief one from me as reports period has coincided with several exam deadlines for my courses and the busy spot work. Any questions, please drop a message. politicaleducation@younggreens.org.uk. 30 under 30. The primary role of political education officer is running the 30 under 30 program, a residential trip to train up activists. A number of exec members and I have been working on organising this as Aaron Helving was massively in organisation. Dates of the program are now penciled in the calendar, and we are working on putting together resources for how the training will actually look and how to structure the days. Under 18 specific training. Due to safeguarding reasons, under 18s cannot participate in 30 under 30 program. This leaves a load of people without access to training. As such, I've begun working with a number of folks across the exec to get thoughts and feedback on what we can do on this front. I intend that the under 18s committee will take a lot of this on themselves. Discussion points include in school, Sixth form, college included. Outreach on from Ben Richards, Wales officer. Proposal earlier in the year. Other points included comms and training and comms and training accessible to young people. Broader training strategy, video training. Still early days, but we've been chatting with people in the main party about a training revamp based around digestible and well-produced content to replace our recorded webinars. This benefits young people with our short attention spans in particular, but it needs to be done regardless to formalise the party. There are a number of young Greens who will be involved in the project in front and behind the camera. Civil society engagement. Without sounding too much like Lenin, I think it's incredibly important to have a workers' vanguard leading all instruments of society. Currently, these organisations are dominated by liberals. And if you want to read the full report, you can find it on Green Spaces. And as stated at the top of Eugene's report, if you want to ask any questions, you can email him at politicaleducation@younggreens.org.uk.
And then I think Elliot is here.
Do we want to just ask the question that was put in chat, by the way?
Oh, yeah, go for which was that? Was that to Kiara?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read this out. If Kiara, you're able to answer that as well. It reads, Kiara, since this seems to be your remit, would you be able to help with welcoming new members in such as the ones that used to happen? I would be happy to help do that following a training. Kiara, are you okay to answer that?
Yeah, I think this sounds like a really, really great idea. I think in terms of my capacity, let me know how this sounds, guys, but like a monthly welcome call, perhaps, where all of the new members are invited. I'm not actually sure like the feasibility, but perhaps Callum and I can have a little chat afterwards. But I definitely think this sounds great.
Beautiful. And I think that answered your question. Then I think we'll go on to Elliot, who is our disability officer.
Oh,
Elliot,
yeah,
you
I don't
okay
know.
to take
Oh,
on-
I don't know if it's just me, but your microphone is crackling quite a bit.
It's probably just my Wi-Fi. I am on the other side of the world right now. Okay, I do apologize to everyone.
No, it's like interference. It's quite bad. Don't need to take the rest until it sorts itself out.
Yeah, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, that's fine. I hope it isn't just me anyway. If it is, I'm sorry. I've just completely done that for no reason. Next is Elliot, who I believe is here. So you have 2 minutes when you're ready, Elliot.
Cool, thanks. Thanks, DAC, for hosting us. So, despite a slow start after convention, I have really enjoyed jumping back into the role of disability officer on the exec this year, and can't wait for what the coming year has to offer. Thank you, especially to our co-chairs and operations officer, for making this year's exec so enjoyable so far. So far this year, I've attended the majority of exec meetings, some of which have been missed due to other work commitments or Green Party commitments. Of those I've attended, I have continued to always engage in discussions on a wide range of issues with a view to empower young Greens with disabilities. I've given my input on co-options and taken part in interviews. I've contributed to social media posts. I've taken part in campaign meetings and having started a proposal on mental health. I've set up a cross-liberation working group to improve the communication amongst liberation groups and liberation officers, and to look at how we can improve the effectiveness of liberation officers and groups. I've also planned, organised and sat on the panel of a Disability History Month event on all about employment, which was on Friday. It went really well, and I especially want to thank Finn for hosting it. It was really great, and Kiara for sitting on the panel as well. Their input was amazing. Going forward this year, I hope to be working closer with the Disability Liberation Group, inputting into Young Green candidate election support, and put more work into the pledges I've made on my re-election, including that on bus passes. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Perfect. With the question chat, I'll come to that at the end, just to ask it to everyone, I guess. If people want to answer it in the chat as well, meanwhile, you're very welcome to do that as well. Next would be our LGBTIQA plus officer, but that position is vacant. So we would be moving on to Cynthia, our people of colour officer. I don't believe she is here, but I will read the report. They have been newly co-opted, so wouldn't necessarily expect to have much in the report. Anyway. So thank you for submitting one. Anyway, I am incredibly honoured to have been elected as the new Young Greens Court Officer. I am excited to work alongside the other executive committee members and Young Green members to create a more inclusive, diverse, and powerful Green movement. Although I am newly elected into this role and don't yet have as much to show as my colleagues in terms of substantive action, I want to share my commitment and vision moving forward. As the Young Greens of Colour Officer, my goal is clear: to champion equality, amplify the voices of young people of colour, and push for the change we all believe in. Yeah. Ollie, shall we give it another go?
Okay.
That's better.
I'll try. That I think, well, our trans officer, women officer, and women of colour officer, there are no reports, and so that it goes on to Ellie Gooch, our under 18s officer.
I believe Alexis is here, though, if she wants to speak for 2 minutes.
Is Alexis? Sorry, my mistake. Alexis, did you want to put in a little report of your past couple of months?
I'm quite new. I'm still haven't got access to the email yet.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to sort that out. But I'm Alexis. I'm the trans officer, and we've setting up for like the trans we've got like a group chat, and we're setting up a small meeting to help things get started up, because things have been pretty slow on the trans end. So we're gonna get that start up and running, which would be nice.
A lot of our liberation officers are newly co-opted, for context, for anybody watching this and anybody here who doesn't know. So we wouldn't expect as much to be in reports and necessarily to have submitted them. Unfortunately, Constitution, standing orders technically require it. Yes. Over to you again.
So then is Rebecca Davies or Jasmine here? I think that's a no. So then on to Ellie Gooch, who's our under 18s officer. Ellie, when you start, I'll keep 2 minutes for you. So go for it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm going to have to start by apologising because I've got a bit of a cold, so this terrible podcast is going to get even worse. But anyway, I'd like to start with an honourable mention to Hayden Osborne Brooks, because he's been the co-chair of the Under 18s Committee for the first part of my tenure, and he's been the drive and enthusiasm behind everything we've managed to get done. So I'm really pleased we've managed to work together. I'd also like to thank everyone who elected me and everyone else who stood for the Under 18s officer role. Everyone ran a fantastic campaign, and I'm very excited that I've now managed to be working with some of you in the Under 18s Committee. It really is an exciting time to be an under 18 in the Young Greens, I think, and there's a lot we can get done. So I hope we can channel our the momentum and the interest into some real change into how we treat under 18s as a party. But my first priority, before filling any of the commitments I made in the summer, was to get a full committee elected, because I want any different changes we make to how under 18s are treated to be as democratic as possible. And I'm very proud to say that we now have a full committee after me and Hayden reviewed our applications, conducted interviews, and co-opted a committee, and we've managed to meet. Another step I wanted to take was to establish portfolios for each of our committee members. This was a main objective of our first committee meeting, but we also laid the groundwork for a number of projects, including a full Vote 16 campaign, which Hayden is leading, a social media and email campaign informing under 18s of the ways they can still be politically active, even if their local party might not be as keen on that, and explain a document detailing the rights and responsibility involved in under 18s engagement to share in local parties. Among other projects, and this is something that we've collaborated with Eugene on some of these as part of his under 18s training and development sessions. Alongside this, I've also attended regular executive meetings representing the voice of under 18s. I've also been part of our under 18s training and development sessions with our political education officer, Eugene, obviously, and Elliot's cross-liberation group meetings. Alongside this, I've also helped conduct co-option interviews for vacant roles. I look forward to working with my committee further and making genuine change to how under 18s are treated in the party, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
And that is you. So thank you very much, Ellie. Any questions for our under 18s officer? George, I know there was a question put in the group chat to all committee members. Did you say we're saving that to the end?
Yeah, we'll come to it now. Because I think in terms of people who are here to speak, it's only me and you after that. So we'll just come to it now. The question is essentially, what kind of super important work do you wish you had extra help with? And then the full question is, meanwhile, another question for all committee members. What do you advise new members with capacity to work to direct their attention to? Is there a common vision or a set of priorities or deadlines to meet which could use with some extra help? I don't know what order to do this in. Do you want to start, Colin?
Yeah, I'm happy to start. Also, not sure if my report was recorded at the start, so yeah, please do read it on Green Spaces if you want to know what I've been up to. Yeah, so I'll kind of answer these both together. Basically, it would be great to have extra support with everything that we do. We're always looking for people to run for our various committees, exec roles, stand for co-options when they're open. And yeah, if that's something that you'd like to do, most of the spaces are filled on the exec, but we obviously we run elections every year. So if you have any questions about what the Young Greens exec does and want to put yourself forward next year, that would be really welcome. In terms of things that kind of members as volunteers can help with, I'm kind of going to, there are quite, I think, fewer opportunities than maybe there could be for members to get involved directly with our work. The biggest chance for that in the coming months will be action days around local elections. It's always great to have people attending those and supporting Young Green candidates, making sure they can get elected. And if you have any other spare capacity, I'm sure it would be great to attend those and get to meet people. We'll also be hosting Winter General Meeting in February. It's always great to have members there to help us with our democratic processes. But yeah, I think some of the more difficult stuff for us that we need support on also requires us to train and support people wanting to volunteer, especially if it deals with like data or anything like that. But yeah, any volunteering opportunities and stuff will be shared, usually via email or in the Slack network, if there is anything that you can help with. Hopefully that's a very long-winded answer to your question, but hopefully I answered it. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else who wants to contribute? I think I'll just leave it to like a hands up type thing. And I'll go to Elliot.
Yeah, so kind of to add on from Callum's point, I think there's a lot that kind of members can get involved in if they have time and capacity, because I know that's kind of the struggle with everyone wanting to get involved with everything, and it's not always possible to. I would particularly look at getting involved in our liberation groups, our special interest groups, but also our Young Green regional groups. So as been mentioned, the London Young Greens have recently started up. So, look at what region you're currently in and see if you can get involved, or if the group isn't currently set up, get in touch and get involved. But also, we always need more young green voices throughout the party. So get involved in working groups, and get involved in your local party as well. Get onto their executive and give that voice there where so few young greens are at. So that's my input on that.
And Ellie.
Yeah, I just wanted to say if you're under 18, we are going to be looking, we've co-opted our committee already for this year, but we're going to be looking to send out some emails pretty soon, asking for what you would like to change in the party, because we really want it to be driven by all under 18s, not just the few that we've co-opted, or me. And so have a look out for that, or contact us directly if there is anything specifically you would like us to work on. But as I say, we've already co-opted. Just
And we'll move on. We would be taking the Wales officer report, but one has not been submitted. The Green Students Committee co-conveners are on the executive committee, but they are dealt with separately after the DAC reports, so we'll come on to them later. Next, though, is the riveting DAC technical report, where we just detail what we have done, essentially, and any sort of actions that we're meant to report on. Ollie, if you could keep your time with this. Okay. So to summarize, the committee at the time of me and Ollie decided to appoint me and Ollie as co-chairs of DAC. In terms of updates and changes to ruling documents, we haven't made many, because most of the grammatical and spelling errors in there have now been cleared up from what I'm aware of. But we did change formally constitute deliberation groups to formally constitute deliberation groups, because the previous wording doesn't make sense. I don't think we're planning to make any more changes that I'm aware of. I haven't spotted anything. We also included the elections officer again under the list of roles that need to give reports at convention, because it was not there for some reason. We haven't made any rulings so far. We will probably be making one at our next meeting, but I can't speak to what the outcome of that is yet. We have received a complaint. I will let Ollie speak about that more in his report if he wants to. And we co-opted 2 more members of the committee, Mina Cousins and Connor Wainwright. We did not fill our last role, just due to gender balance requirements, and like the candidates that we did have to choose from, a few of them did not respond to requests that attempt like an informal chat, so we did not commit the final role in the committee. We may at some point in the year if capacity is an issue. But I think at the moment we're minded to leave it vacant, at least for the time being. That's everything.
And that is about your time. So thank you to George Morris for reading out the DAC report. Now, if I can hand it over to George Morris to read out his DAC co-chair report.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you everyone who re-elected me for a 3rd term. This is my term limit now for DAC. I can't stand next year. I won't be attempting to stand next year either. We had the Democracy and Accountability Committee. That would be very out of fashion. But thank you for everyone who elected me again. And thank you to everyone on DAC so far, including Ollie, for having a genuinely collaborative environment where we are more of a team than I think we were last year, and I've been able to sort of split the work up more. and yes, SFC Slang Orders Committee. At the beginning of the year, one of the first things I did was contact SFC about the issue in the report. Essentially, I think it would give us more standing, and give people more of a reason to engage with our internal democracy if we could affect policy at convention. So that's why we have I made that request to SSC to rule, because I think it'd be a really fresh thing to be able to directly contribute policy to convention for the main party. As you'd expect, as co-chair, I have been chairing a lot of our meetings. I've been taking minutes. Me and Ollie ran the co-option process, so we interviewed people and did their scores and decided to co-op together. Our workload has been pretty light so far, to be honest. How much to do? I haven't had many ruling requests. Well, we haven't had any ruling requests. So I would encourage anyone who spots anything to give us some work and give us something to do. We will be preparing for Winter General Meeting soon, deciding what the democracy timetable is going to look like soon. So keep your eyes out for that if you are looking to submit motions.
And that's your time, George.
And thank you.
Thank you. And now, oh my God, Ollie Ashton, co-chair and C&D rep. What a coincidence! I'll read out mine. So C&D is just the Complaints and Disputes Committee for anyone who doesn't know. So I'll read mine out. It's been great to work within the DAC, and I'd like to say thank you to the members and my fellow co-chair of DAC, George Morris, and making it a great team to be a part of. In regards to complaints, we have had one formal complaint, but it's proven to be quite the constitutional difficulty, as the complaint has been made, has been dealt by the Green Party of England Wales Standing Order Committee before. No, I take that back. Before
just keep going.
Before our committee has been convened. A review of the complaints procedure will prove to be a proactive step in making sure that a clearer and more effective procedure is able to take place in light of different circumstances. And with the other co-chair, George, we have co-opted 2 new members into the committee. While we've not been able to fill the final position available in DAC, this is because we couldn't meet the gender balance required. I look forward to the upcoming time with the DAC and hope to prove an effective year for policy and procedure reviews. So that's me, but is there any questions for me and George as co-chairs of DAC? If there are, feel free to put your hand up or just whack it in the chat. If not, I'll read Connor's, and George, do you want to read Mina's?
Sure. Just to quickly clarify about the complaints process in the National Party. No fault suspensions are dealt with by GPRC, and then actual complaints are decided by the disciplinary committee nationally.
Thank you. So then I'll go on to Connor's. Connor Wainwright, a DAC member, he says, I've recently been co-opted into my position on the Democracy and Accountability Committee, and as a result have yet to have the opportunity to contribute to the operations of the Young Greens. And then George, did you want to take on Mina's?
Yep, I have recently been co-opted to this position. As such, I have very little to contribute aside from my enthusiasm for the role. I did observe the London Young Greens AGM on the 17th of November and found it was compliant with our expectations for a regional group.
Wonderful. And we've just had a question by Ida put in, which, so all committee positions, apart from the Complaints and Disputes Committee, I think, are open for elections. And then if the role is not filled, then we will go to co-options where people can just apply, and then the committee members surrounding that committee can filter through, interview, and put someone in that position themselves. And so I hope that answered your question.
Green
I think
Students
it's
Committee is also
yeah.
co-opted than the co-chairs, but yeah.
Thank you. Speaking of, we have the Green Students Committee reports coming up. It says co-opted members of the Green Student Committee do not need to write an annual report according to standing orders. Do we have either of the student committee here? I don't think we do. I will read out Lewis's. So this is from Lewis Hall, the co-convener of the Green Students Committee. I'll give myself 2 minutes. It reads, a longer than expected co-option process and a delightful chunk of simultaneous uni deadlines has meant we're still getting the Green Students Committee in motion. Regardless, actions taken over the past month have included co-opting 2 new members of the GSC who have now received inductions and should be joining the Slack channel shortly, establishing 2 joint priorities, tuition fees and affordable student housing for campaigns in 2025, and participating in exec meetings and voting on motions, as well as getting involved in the Make Votes Matter partnership, participating in further meetings on potential student-specific joint campaigning. These actions have taken place in addition to continuing to run the Cardiff University Greens and participate in the local action days for an upcoming council by-election. In terms of future action, the Green Students Committee hopes to set wider priorities with the new GSC members and delegate key roles, establish a working relationship with comms, reviving the @GPU Students Instagram account and increasing online engagement, assisting in group coordination, as well as connect university groups to encourage close relationships to assist in potential action day turnout, and push the 30 under 30 program to students and assist in coordination, a group-based session, a group power-based session. Both Layla and I will continue to use our roles to push for students' right and are excited for what the GSE will do in 2025. So that was Lewis Hall, co-convener of the Green Students Committee. If you have any questions for Lewis or Layla, who I'm sure George will read out, then feel free to put it in the chat or get in contact with them. George, do you want to go for Layla?
Yep. And we'll start Layla's report when I reset my timer so it doesn't interrupt me at 1 minute midway through this. A slow start for us at the Green Students Committee. Co-options and housekeeping items took longer than expected. Here are some of the actions that have been taken. Co-opted 2 members to the committee, establishing our committee priorities, delegating and planning how to tackle the university affiliation backlog. I'm currently in the process of affiliating London School. That's what LC stands for, London School of Economics, Young Greens, attending and participating in exec meetings. Having set the groundwork, we expect to be ramping up our activity in the next quarter as we finally, as we will finally be having whole committee meetings. Here's some of what we want to do. Look at incorporating the skills and interests of our recently co-opted members into our work and expanding our campaign in accordance with that. Potentially running a second round of co-options to try and fill all committee positions, expand connections made with the wider Young Greens comms, as well as looking into the potential of comms assistance to societies for major events / local elections. I'd like to thank Callum and Amelia for being so helpful after me and Lewis were co-opted. Everybody that helped with the co-options process was brilliant too. And that is all the reports, I believe. So thank you everyone for coming. If you do have any questions, email a relevant member, where you can find the emails, which you can find on younggreens.org.uk, I believe. I don't think there's anything else, unless anybody wants to make any announcements. I assume not, though. If you want to donate to Young Greens, I'm sure you can find a link on our website as well. We want to ramp up our fundraising to be more ambitious than ever before. So if you want to donate and want to help us with that, then it is very welcome. But other than that, I think we'll end that there. Thank you, everyone, for coming. In terms of that question on the committee role descriptions, please tell me if you don't have access to green spaces, because this isn't helpful otherwise. I believe committee role descriptions are available in our record of organizational statements, which was updated last year. If I can post something to that, if that's helpful. Which I will do now, actually. I can probably just send the PDF, actually. Sorry, this is going to take me a minute, but I'm going to end.
I can drone on. Thank you to the exec members and our officers and committee members who came today. I know that it's a long time to sit and listen to me and George read out everyone else's reports, so thank you for coming. Next time, do make sure everyone else in the exec comes along. It's much nicer when everyone can read out their own reports, and it isn't more droning news bulletin from me and George. But thank you again to everyone who came. And I think we'll be hosting something similar to this at WGN, the Winter General Meeting. Is that right, George?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we'll have another one in between the Winter General Meeting and convention, and then another one at convention. So it's a great time for everyone and me to learn what everyone's been up to, and to get to see everyone's lovely, lovely faces. But yeah, George, have you got